Hey guys, what up? It's your boy Cognac Kenny back at it again. Today is a highly anticipated episode for me, mainly because I finally got my hands on some duss'e. Now, duss'e is the rapper Jay-Z's cognac brand. He's a co-owner of it, so I think he owns about half of duss'e. This is really hard to find because in Australia, cognac isn't too much of a big thing. So I actually had to seek out a specialized cognac bottle shop, liquor store to get the duss'e. Ended up finding it, ended up missioning out there, got it. So I'm excited. It's been sitting on the shelf for a little bit. So yeah, I'm really keen to get into it. I haven't looked up anything about it. The only thing I know about duss'e is the fact that Jay-Z owns it, that is it. So first impressions, when I first got it, I looked at the bottle and I thought it had this real Patron type shape and I really didn't like it. Sat on the shelf and every time I'd open it up, this is like a gold piece of metal that's stuck on there. And it's got some French writing or inscriptions. I don't know the story behind it, but basically whenever I'd open up the cupboard, this would just shine at me. Now, the cognac itself does look a little bit light, but it's hard because light just seems to catch all these different points and it seems to illuminate it from within, which is interesting. The top with the cap, it's got a D with that same logo here. I think it's a sword. I don't know, we'll find out. So it's got that same logo here and then a nice little touch. On the bottom, it's got the same, it's got D for duss'e, and then it's got the sword in it as well. On the back, usually where it tells you the alcohol percentage or that kind of thing, usually it's just a sticker. With this, they've gone with that same metal engraving and that's stuck on. So the quality of it, it does feel and look quite luxury. Now the shrink wrap, it just says duss'e across the top. Other than that, it's got the standard in Australia, you need the standard drinks and all barcode, all that kind of thing. All up, it's a really nice bottle, really nice shape. The thing is, unlike a Patron bottle where it's really hard to hold, it'd be nice if the neck was just a touch longer, but you can hold it. So you don't feel like you're going to sort of drop it when it's in your hand. But anyway, let's get into it. So I picked this up for 110 Australian dollars. In US, I think that's around 80, $85. This is the VSOP. For the VSOP, that's quite expensive for a VSOP, but there's nowhere to really buy it, so there's not much competition, so these people can charge whatever they want. Something that I didn't notice when it was all wrapped up is that you've got the shape here, and then it's like a glass, so it's a cork, but it's got a glass top. I think it's glass, yeah. And it's interesting. It actually means you can kind of get a bit of a grip onto it. So let's give it a pop. Ooh, that was nice. The opening is deceptively smaller than other cognacs. So I don't want to tip it over too much, but the opening is a little bit smaller than you would think, but it's still nice quality. I actually don't think this is glass. I think it's plastic because it feels light, which actually kind of ruins the allure of it because when it is in, it looks like glass because it mashes in with this, but when you pull it off, it's got a nice pop. But yeah, it's just plastic. Other than that, I do think it is a nice touch having the D in there, the sword. Okay, let's give it a pour. Pour is very nice, unlike some of the other cognac houses. So straight away, it's not dark, it's not light. I'd say it's a mid-colored cognac, which is good. Slightly onto the darker end of it. It's giving me hints of what you would expect from a Hennessy XO. That's what I'm getting initially. Just like I'm just getting sort of feels and vibes of a Hennessy XO. Okay, I might just give it a sip. This tastes really similar to Hennessy XO, but it's got some little spice, little bite towards the end of it, which I think is good, which is something that I like. I like that type of taste and that vibe with a cognac. I was actually afraid that when I looked at it, because of the way that the bottle illuminates, that it'd be quite light, like a Muco or something like that, and it just tastes a little bit too floral for me. But at the moment, it's dark. I'm not getting too many fruity and floral flavors from it, but I've got this really deep, rich taste. I like it, I like it. So it feels like it's got a little bit of spice to it, it's got a little bit of bite, but that's enjoyable. It's something that I feel like it's not something you jump on and you could hit straight away, but I feel like this would go really well with like a Sprite mixer, like a light colored mixer, some Sprite or some ginger ale, something like that. I feel like this would go really well because it brings down that bite a little bit and you can just enjoy the mids of the cognac. Okay, all up, for the price, I'm not sure. But as a cognac, as a standalone cognac, I think it's good. It's something that I feel like you would enjoy. I feel like this is a cognac you would enjoy at home as opposed to out and about, out at the club, out at a party somewhere else. Mainly because you can sip on it at your own pace. Not that you would have peer pressure, but you wouldn't have feel like the need to be constantly sipping, constantly doing something. This is something you could really like sit back, have a sip, enjoy, and then let the flavors kind of like roll around. I think the duss'e is a great cognac. After having the VSOP, so this is the duss'e VSOP, I actually would like to give the XO a go. The VSOP, it's an enjoyable cognac. It's not a cognac that I would go to first, but it's definitely something that I would have second or third drink along. This is the type of cognac that I would enjoy introducing someone that already knows their cognacs and had a wide range of cognacs. I think they really enjoy the duss'e. Someone that doesn't drink cognacs, I wouldn't introduce them to this cognac because I feel like they'll sip it and they'll pull out the spicier, harsher parts of the cognac than enjoying the complexity of it. Here's what I rate duss'e VSOP. I give it a SNOB score of 7. It's not one of the big established houses, but I feel like the flavor of it, the taste of it, it's something that people in the cognac sphere will have seen, will have most likely have tasted, and can appreciate as a good cognac. For flex factor, I give it a 9. Jay-Z is really big in the streets, really big in the culture. The fact that he has been flexing with duss'e for a while, that's why I wanted to get my hands on it. I think if you've got this in your hand, people are gonna see it. It's got that Patron shape, but it's got that brown look to it. I think that if you rock up to a club or a party with a bottle of duss'e, and anyone that knows anything about the culture and is interested in that, they're gonna wanna have a sip of this even if they don't drink cognac, just to say that they're drinking Jay-Z's cognac. Price point, I'm giving this a 6. It cost me 110 Australian dollars, which is quite expensive for a VSOP. I would expect 80, 85, 90 max for a VSOP, so it is quite expensive on that end of the spectrum, but saying that, it is quite tasty. For taste, I'm giving this an 8. I came in being nervous, thinking that I'd possibly have wasted my money on something and that I'd have to really struggle with some mixes just to get it down. But this is an enjoyable cognac. It's not as nice as some other cognacs that I've had, but I think it's quite good. For shelf appeal, I'm giving this an 8. Mainly because when I first looked at it, I didn't really like it. It hasn't got the shape, the iconic shape of an XO or something like that. But saying that, it isn't a standard Hennessy, VS, VSOP, like those types of shapes. The things that do kind of really draw it to me is that the light seems to bounce around and catch the cognac, which gives it an interesting gradient, mainly because there's more volume down the bottom, less up the top, so it kind of changes the color. When you do look into the side, you can actually see the D with the sword in there, and then also the gold at the front. So when you do open up the cupboard and it's sitting on that shelf, it kind of just like looks at you and it kind of, yeah. All up, duss'e gets a 38. It's a nice quality cognac, a little bit expensive for my liking, but all round, it's an enjoyable cognac, something that I'm gonna be holding on to for a little while. That's it, that's your boy Cognac Kenny out.